What is up, everybody? We are back with more Pokemon VGC Masterclass, where we teach you how to play creative VGC correctly. Today is Wednesday, so we are doing Wi-Fi Wednesday with a little bit of a twist. We have a lot of teams still to work on from the official Patreon team submission post. So what we're going to be doing is kind of just a secondary version of Team Fixing Tuesday on a Wi-Fi Wednesday. We're going to be playing a bunch of ranked games with teams that are submitted on Patreon, and then we're going to be fixing those teams. And today's team we're actually going to be taking a look at is, well, it's going to be 3 teams, but it's all hyper-aggressive teams. Today's article is the price of being proactive. I think it's you got to know when to dial back that like double-edged sword that is like a hyper-aggressive team. So we're going to be taking a look at 3 different teams that I think go a little bit too deep that were submitted on this month's Patreon team fixing submission post. We're running down what it means to be proactive as well. If you're looking to be someone that wants to develop a more, aggressive play style, you're probably going to learn a lot from this little article here. So let's get right into it. So the price of being proactive, Pokemon VGC Masterclass number 8. Remember, we go through all these 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, Pokemon VGC Masterclass every day in July. We're working really hard on making a bunch of consistent content for you guys. Think about checking out some of the other videos if you like these sort of articles and rundowns. So, the price of being proactive. What does it mean to be proactive in VGC? It means taking initiative, using mechanics like Prankster and Speed Control to dictate play. Here's some of the best ways to be proactive in VGC. And again, proactive is just another word for like aggressive. Be the person to like dictate play. Be the person to be like, hey, I'm doing this, you're reacting to me. It's like just like in tennis, the person being proactive would be the person that's throwing it. If it's football, the quarterback that like has the ball, like gets right off the snap, like that's the person being proactive. It's a person that's generating the pace of the game. So some things that can help you generate that pace are having like Prankster Speed Control, stuff like Tailwinds, Thunder Waves, Scary Faces, Quash. Make this a little bit bigger for you guys to read. Oh my gosh, so much easier to read now, right? Bunch of different ways to do that based off Prankster, giving all of your status moves +1 priority. You can use things like Grimmsnarl, Murkrow, Sableye for all those different like Thunder Wavy, Quashy, Scary Face ones. We also have like just Tailwind of like Tornadus, Whimsicott, very, very solid stuff. Talonflame, Gale Wings, that's another way to do that too. Up next is going to be Booster Energy Speed Control from Pokemon like Roaring Moon, Fluttermane, and also Sandy Shocks, which we're going to be taking a look at today. Sandy Shocks is a really, really cool Pokemon we're taking a look at. But yeah, Booster Energy lets those Mons, including like Iron Jugulus, go for like those Tailwinds, those Icy Winds, and are able to kind of function at almost pseudo Prankster levels of speed control to help you kind of like bully out other Mons. It forces people to respect your ability to Tailwind, but at the same time, you don't have to overcommit to Tailwind in those situations. And your speed control, like, it's a secondary effect because those Mons are all just really, really good. Another just form of like proactive play is like a Choice Scarf on like a really aggressive Mon. So like a Choice Scarf from Pokemon like an Urshifu Water or like a Final Gambit Annihilape. That is a proactive play. That's something that you slap that on a team, your opponent is immediately reacting. Urshifu's going to be able to break through those protects. It's going to be able to allow like an Annihilape, for example, be able to just go Final Gambit, just nuke something and let your teammate fight go 1v1. Jack just popped in, one of my favorite YouTubers, saying they're sitting at 8th in the world with 1934. That is so big, so high. Good luck on rank 1, my friend. We're going over some proactive choices and, what defines them in Reg I right now. Other just aggressive tools are things like Fake Out. I really think Upper Hand is a proactive tool because it basically stops people from using like different sorts of like priority, like Fake Out, like, Grassy Glide, Sucker Punches, Aqua Jets, before those even become a problem. Things like Fate, being able to break those screens before they even come up, be able to break through those protects. Shadow Tag, I think, is another way of like playing proactive. Being able to lock your opponent out of like their just in-game mechanics, being able to lock them out of switching. You could also say that like Neutralizing Gas could go here too. I think that's a fair way to do it. Basically, leveraging an advantage of your opponent that forces them into an immediate form of reaction is, a way of playing proactive. Another thing is different like choice items. So like a Choice Specs on the right Mon, like a Choice Spec Shadow Rider, that is proactive. Your opponent immediately has to do something about that. Same thing for a Band on like a big like Urshifu or something. And last but not least, like an Ability Shield. I think an Ability Shield could be seen as a form of proactive play because you are saying guaranteed no matter what, this ability will happen. You can put that on your Tatsugiris, you can put that on your Tornaduses to stop other Weezings and other things that would stop abilities. You're always going to have that advantage there. You say a bit off topic, but what do you think is the best current set on Groudon? That's hard to say. Citrus is still good. I think Lefty's bulk up is probably my favorite on Groudon if I had to pick one. All right, so let's just go over a little bit of this. AV is another really good one. Amulet's always solid. I like the Lefty's variants. So generally, a lot of these abilities / moves playstyles lean a little more into aggressive territory, and there's nothing wrong with that. Honestly, every team needs a way to just bully opposing teams like out of the game. Like you need your Torn Urshes, you know, your Whimsicott Miraidon leads. We actually made an article the other day going over that, like just talking about being able to just like win early. These are really, really important. Just being able to see that slight amount of weakness from your opponent when their team's like not quite up to snuff, and just being able to pop those things easy peasy. Very, very important. Every single team needs those ideas, right? The only time this proactive playstyle starts to become an issue is when you take that aggressive playstyle to the next level and don't have enough reactive or defensive options to stop them from playing aggressive against you in a bad matchup. So the problem is, aggression's great, but like let's say you're using like Scarf Urshifu Water and you're like an Adamant Scarf Ursh, and you go up against the guy that has like Jolly Scarf Final Gambit Annihilape, and now they're doing the same thing you do with the same Scarf aggressive set, but they have a mon that has a faster base speed so they can hit you with it first. In those like mirrors or those bad matchups, that can be really, really bad. So you need to have like some sort of defensive tools to get your opponent to respect those tools first, so you can still play aggressive if you need to. So go over some more stuff here. We see this all the time with teams submitted on Patreon for fixing. 100% straight up hyper aggro. Sometimes you need to take your foot off the gas just a tad and give yourself something like one redirection Pokemon or just a smidge of terrain control to deal with things like Miraidon. Maybe adding a Pokemon with the reactive ability like Intimidate, or having some way to mitigate damage like Screens, or some other way to lower your opposing Pokemon stats. You also want to try not to have just one defensive Pokemon do all of the heavy lifting for every single matchup. If it's obvious the only possible defensive play from your team can make is to set Screens with like a Grimmsnarl, it becomes extremely easy for your opponent to target that in the team preview and counter you, right? I think it's actually really important. We're going to get to the rest of this paragraph in a second, but like I see teams all the time that they'll take what I say about adding defensive tools, and they'll have like 5 sweepers and like a Grimmsnarl, or like 5 sweepers and like an Amoonguss. And I was like, you're making Amoonguss do the heavy lifting of every single possible worst matchup in existence, and there's no way that it's going to be able to do that without being a massive Terra Hog, without being like doubled up on super targeted, because what your opponent's going to see is since you only have that one mon that can stop them, they're going to throw the kitchen sink at that one mon, and then they're just going to use the advantages they have in the matchup in general and roll you over, right? So you want to not let that happen. What we're going to work on today is blending the right level of proactive play and reactive play to fix 3 teams that were submitted on Patreon into 3 new ones that can still play aggressive but have the defensive tools to play the long game if possible. I think it's actually like pretty important to understand that you don't want one Pokemon to do all the heavy lifting. You want to add like the right EV spreads. You want to add the right defensive options, the right terras. You want to have every Pokemon in your team, even the aggressive ones, you know, bear the burden of being able to be a defensive pivot if possible. So last note here, just fixing your EVs to give your aggressive Pokemon the power to trade effectively can be all you need to win something like a mirror match. EVs are super important when playing a proactive team, so we need to find as many ways to optimize them as possible moving forward. Like, it's something as simple as, like, instead of just using like a 252 4 set, you know, something like a 252 244 444 set is going to get you more stats than you had before, and it's those slight changes that can sometimes give you the edge in those those mirror matches that you need. So that's the article today. It's not a very long one, but we have 3 teams to work on. We're going to be using these teams in game on the ranked ladder. Then we're going to be going into fixing, where we actually fix these teams and talk about what we like, talk about what we don't like, and what we might want to change to make them just a little bit better. So this is the first team we're going to be taking a look at. It features Zacian, Scarf Coaching Ape, like Whimsicott. Like, do you see the 252 cruise control for cool we're working on here? So it's a pretty good team. I think there is a lot that we can optimize, but this is like the perfect example of the type of team that is doing a little bit too much aggressively, that we need to dial it back just a bit. Like, we have a little bit of redirection, we have a little bit of speed control, but it might be nice to add like one Pokemon that could like stop a TR, or like do something if TR goes up, like something. So we need to play a couple games with this team and figure out what that is. So let's go into the official ranked ladder and so find this is out. A really good example. We were talking about what happens when there's the mirror, right? We both have Final Gambit Ape, right? That is dicey spicy. And we're going against like Rhydon Ape, like that's the same core, but then they have the defensive and reactive tools. They have the Trick Room Kali that can Terra. They have the Insin that can Fake Out. They have the Grim that can Screens. This is exactly what we don't want to happen. So let's see, how can we actually get out of this situation? I'm going to see if the Wims has Encore. It does. Ooh, yes. I'll take that. We're going to do... those. I kind of want to lead Flutter, honestly. I think Flutter is not bad. I'm trying to think of a world where Zacian even comes in here and has leverage, and I don't know if I can find it. One could say that you should be using Flutter main here, and I think if I were to play a best of 3, I think Flutter main Ape is the right lead here. But this is very hard. You know, what I'm going to be trying to do here is lead Rhydon Annihilape, condition their Kali into a Protect, pivot in the Wims on a hard swap. That's why we don't want to lead Zacian and be able to Encore things. Because this lead here right now, I do say that I can Final Gambit your Rhydon. I do be saying that I can Final Gambit that Rhydon. Don't think that I'm not saying it. I'm definitely saying it. So you have to like Thunder Wave me, right? So if you're going to have to Thunder Wave me and do all those little shenanigan things here, you know what you can't do if you Thunder Wave? You cannot click the good buttons like Light Screen, which means I'm going to take your Grim out. And I'm going to save my Ape. Ape Escape. Show me that Thunder Wave. If they read me Fairy Tearing and Thunder Wave my Rhydon, they're cracked. Annihilape is just Scarf Final Gambit. Looks like our Terra goes first. We're playing super standard here, by the way, with the Rhydon. There's their Terra. Okay, so this is actually really good because now what we did by forcing... also, I want to talk about why we lead Rhydon here in this matchup. We lead Rhydon here because we don't want them being able to terrestrialize their Kali in the back. Really important. I'm really trying to get this Grim off the board. Thunderwave. Oh, I'm so good. I was not eating that Thunder. I was not eating that Thunderwave. We're going to rip it. And we already know that we're faster than them because we terrestrialize first. Nice. This should be able to KO their Grim. Oh, yes. So we're gaming out here. We still have our Ape, too. And you could Dump Truck any of these mons. Honestly, like, it's super okay. Dump Truck in the Wims? Dude, I'm so good at this game. Sheesh. Ooh, 1 HP, baby! Because we're sashed. I kind of wish I went down. I actually thought we were cloaked. I wish that we were cloaked. Because if we were cloaked, we would have been able to reap him with Ape, bro. Sheesh, that really sucks. All right. I thought we were cloaked. I actually really did. That's my fault for not reading enough of the team preview. Cloak would have been so good there because we just brought out Ape and went like nuke one. We would have nuked the Calyrex and it would have been single target decoy into the Rhydon and we would have won. I'm okay with that. Come on, Wims. Oh, that's not spexed. Oh, what? Oh, brother. Why are you not spec? What? Wait, why did it, like, Oko our Wims then, bro? What? That's so weird. He's not, but he's like a magnet. Actually, I could have protected then and just Encore the TR. Yeah, because Sin's going to come in here. Here's the TR. All right, all right. Is that lefties? So he just has Lance. Oh, that's so good. Okay. If you just have Lance. Thinking. Really thinking here. Yeah. Okay. What is the play here? I think it's going to be Reg F with no Terra, is my guess. Yeah, that's my guess. If you want to fake out the Rhydon slot, you can. You throw in the game if you did. Nice. Forbits is good. And you can Lance here too. It's fine. Yep. I wonder how well we can... So this is where if Zacian had a Water Terra, you'd be so good. And like the thing we wanted to talk about here was utilizing those defensive options to where you take a little bit out of the aggression. Like our Zacian here, unfortunately, has a Stellar Terra. So like we can't really get ourselves out of a pin here. Even if we, you know, we blew our Terra early, but like if we had Water Terra, we wouldn't have Terra'd early the Rhydon, you know. I want to see if they protect Kali and go for a Flare Blitz. Yeah, it's too deep. So we lost. What really lost us that game was this Whim having the wrong item. I really thought we were Cloaked Whims. I really thought that we were Cloaked Whims. If the Whims was Cloaked, when you bring out that Kali, you can't stop me from just going Lance or Final Gambit into your Kali and I win the game, right? So, unfortunate. I guess I could have read the team sheet more. That's what happens when you got to play like 30 games a day with different teams, but Whims should be Cloaked on this team anyways. So we'll take the L and we'll go to another one. That's unfortunate. You know, we had that game locked up. So yeah, Cloak is definitely better on Whims. On a team like this, it's not that like Sash is bad, because Sash and Cloak are both defensive items, but like you need Cloak on a Whims to actually let it leverage advantage and be paired with the Rhydon correctly. Like you need those tools. And I just assumed that it was, you know, I wouldn't have pivoted in Whims. I just would have lost the Ape there in that situation. They're going to be leading probably, I could see Ensyn being a lead here. What if I just led with like Whims? Whims Rhydon seems fine, doesn't it? Doesn't it seem okay? I'm trying to think of the like issue that we would come up with if we led Whims Rhydon, because like you're gonna lead Ensyn, right? Do you see like how Cloak would give us so much more like value here? Because right now like our Whims kind of has to bend the knee with Protect, and we don't really want to. I'm gonna leave it those. Let's try that. I don't think Ogerpon is good into a team that has so much AoE. They have Chi-Yu, they have Groudon, stuff like that. You're saying when did they announce the next format? Probably going to be before the end of July. Great lead. So the question is here, who are they actually going after? Are you going after Groudon or Chi-Yu here? And is Chi-Yu going to pop a Ghost Terra? And if Chi-Yu pops the Ghost Terra, what do we get out of that trade? See, because I really like being able to Tailwind here to enable our Annihilape to be faster than that Chi-Yu, and I think I am going to Final Gambit the Groudon. If the Groudon would like to protect and the Chi-Yu would go for a Heat Wave or something, we do have the Sash Whims and then can Encore the Groudon and then pin the Chi-Yu with our Zacian. Yeah, there's a win for me. Cool. Because like Zacian's more of a threat to Rhydon and you know, the rest of our board, in my opinion. You have Eternatus left. I think we bring out Zacian here. Heat Wave's good. No burn, no burn, no burn, no burn. So now that we know that we have a Sash, we'll use it. Nice. Have to bring out Ensyn here. Or, you might have to bring out Ensyn. I'm bringing out Zacian. And you can honestly go for so many different things with this. You can send out a Eternatus. You can send out Flutter. You can send out Ensyn. But you need to be able to protect with whatever you send out here. There's the Eternatus. Awesome. That's great. We're going to get this Chi-Yu off the board, I think. Really like this for us. I think I will Terrastallize my Zacian and play off their Chi-Yu. because we don't need our Terra for any of these other mons. We don't need it for Rhydon. So we're going to protect here to be able to catch the Eternatus using a setup move. We're going to Stellar Terra to make sure that we can KO Chi-Yu if they would like to go for like a neutral Terra against something. Like we could honestly just Sacred Sword it, but we don't want them to go for a Ghost Terra, right? So we're just going to make sure we get this guy off the board. Alright, and let's see how this one works here. This is where we're using the Protect, the defensive tools. Let's see if we can catch the Eternatus using like Meteor Beam or something. Be hilarious. Big player if we do get the hit too. Woo! Dumpied. Alright. Last mon could be in Sin. Also be like Flutter. Flamethrower, okay. Honestly, we can Encore that. Stellar Terra Zacian looks so tough. It's my favorite. Like, I loved it. I love Stellar Terra Zacian on certain teams, but this team, I don't think it works. There's the Flutter. This is a really hard matchup, or a really hard like situation to be in. I think we're going to Encore the Eternatus. I do. Because, like, I don't care if you want to lock in a Flamethrower, because we have a Rhydon in the back, and we're just going to Behemoth Blade the Flutter. And we come with Rhydon and just Gleam out. Love that. Yeah. We're going to lose maybe one or two of our Pokemon here. It's possible that we lose both. But I think Rhydon wins out. Zacian might not die either. Yep, there's Sash, obviously. Icy Wind. Good choice. That's bad, though. Hate that for us. Alright, let's see if Zacian can tank a Flamethrower. Again, Zacian needs to have a better EV spread, I think, but we'll see. If Zacian can tank this Flamethrower, we're gaming. Honestly, they were probably still just clicking Flamethrower anyways. Yeah, nice. Nice, that should be game. Zacian living there is huge. Remember, the Eternatus can't protect. This is the last turn of Tailwind, I believe. So if you have Flutter, you will protect with it. Tailwind last turn. So in this situation, you don't want to Draco. That's how you get that L. Like if you Draco the Eternatus, you're stuck. So we're just gonna D-Gleam. I think that's a fair play. D-Gleam plus Behemoth Blade should be able to get the KO on the Eternatus. If it doesn't, like, we're doing our best, you know. Like, what are they gonna do? Flamethrower the Zacian, we'll just D-Gleam again. Here's a Terra on their side. What do you Terra into that blocks both of these? Steel? Are you a gamer? Water is a resistance to Behemoth Blade. He's gonna live. Let's see how well he eats it, though. Man, imagine if I Electro Drifted it, bro. There's the Protect Flutter. We talked about that. So you're gonna get the Zacian off the board. We really need to see how much damage Rhydon does with D-Gleam. I think that's the one big thing that we need to, you know, put into play here. Not enough damage at all. Not enough damage. Okay. Zacian goes down. Yeah, let's see it. Man, imagine if I Electro Drifted that. Actually, should I have Electro Drifted? Like, was that a mistake? I don't think Behemoth Blade without the Stellar Terra and Electro Drift would have gotten that KO. I do not. I think they might win. It's definitely possible. If they ever cover, we lose. I will just say that. Because they can just Dynamax Cannon now because, like, the Tailwind's gone. Let's see if they miss an Icy Wind. So I think also as well, like, we want to talk a little bit about, like, adding defensive Terras, adding defensive EVs and stuff like that. We really needed that to miss. Oh, that's so much damage. Oh, I hate that. Oh, that's so disgusting. Sloth with a fall. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate it. Yeah, this is their last turn Encore. They're just going to Dynamax Cannon us from here. If they missed the D-Gleam, we won there. But, like, they didn't. So, it's possible we still... No, we can't outspeed here. There's no way. Close game, I think. But, you know, they're probably just going to recover us out or go for a Dynamax Cannon in this situation. So, we take the L. But hopefully you understand a little bit more of, like, what we need to do with this team to fix it. So, again, going back to the team fixing here, I think there is a lot that we can work on. And, like, right now what you're doing with this team is you're kind of just trying to go, like, Tailwind Final Gambit and, like, hope that they don't have, like, a way to deal with it, which you can see how that lets you run out of steam if they have, like, one... You lose to a late-game Terra in every single situation, I think. So let's try and add defensive tools to our team that can help us outplay those. Because right now we have one Protect here, We have one protect here that we used, one protect here, but like they don't really ever let us leverage advantage, and it kind of just leaves our Miraidon like high and dry. So that being said, I think the first thing we want to do is we want to think about what this Ogerpon's role on the team is. Like, when would you ever bring this Pokemon? If they have Spore? I guess, but you can just stop Spore with this, right? So that's why you don't really see these two on teams that much anymore. You think like, okay, well, if they have like an Ursh, right? It's like, well, like Ursh can go down here, here, here. You don't really need it. No, you don't need to put the Kali Ice team on card. It's okay. Fergoff, if we get two, no, I don't think you need to go in prison. That's too deep. That's too aggressive. I think if you were to cut this Mon for something, I think that you'd be able to unlock a little bit more value with this team. It's just hard to say what. I feel like on these sort of teams, a Mon that can be really, really good is Goth. I feel like, is it so weird that like everyone's like, fix my team, and I'm like, bro, just put Goth on it and you win. But like, think about it, right? If we put Goth with Shadow Tag here, with like Fake Out, we now have lines where we can go Goth, Zacian, pin things, slash flip Trick and Black, slash taunt, all good defensive tools, all good proactive tools, right? You now go Goth Ape, you can go Goth Miraidon, and now you have a Fake Out user that kind of lets you do things that you couldn't normally do. I also think Goth is like good, like defensive typing for this team. Being able to swap it on like fighting attacks on the Zacian, swaps it on just a bunch of random stuff. I think it's actually pretty nice. I think Goth fits pretty well on this team. You don't even need a safety goggles either because you have a Miraidon on the team too. So you can afford like a really cool item. Like what you could even do is you can put your Covert Cloak on here like you're supposed to have, right? And you can go with like a Sash Goth. Like that's such a weird set. You don't have Perish? No, you don't do that. Don't do that. Don't take this person's advice. They're incorrect. You do not want to add Perish on here because you do not have the defensive tools to pivot that. That's not the look. So I think Goth here is good. If anything, this makes people respect the fact that you could Perish more, but you would never want to dedicate those resources into that. No, it's not weird to see Goth without Perish Song. Goth has been used more without Perish Song than with it, right? You guys know that, right? Like, Perish is a thing. Perish isn't even like Shadow Tag plus a Perish user. Like what makes a Perish team an actual Perish team is the multiple double protect, like Fake Out cycle pivot mons that go with it, right? That's what makes a Perish team, not just the fact that you have those two mechanics. Because like if I open up Flutter and I click, if I open up Goth Flutter and I click like Fake Out Perish, they're gonna pop one of these. And then what the fuck do I do? Do I come out with Ape and Final Gambit? Like, no, that's not going to work, right? I'll be like, this is so counterproductive, right? So you don't need Perish. Don't think that you're going too deep if you do that. Like, you're doing exactly what we were talking about at the start of this. Like, you need to dial it back just a little bit. You got to dial it back just a wee tad here. So I think Goth is good, though. I think Goth definitely works. So, like, Goth has Fake Out. It has Taunt. Very, very solid stuff. You could even go with, like, a really aggressive set with, like, Foul Play here. I do like the Foul Play on the Goth. I would definitely try it. I think that your team isn't really losing a lot by cutting that Ogerpon. If you only want a Fake Out user, why not Incineroar or Rillaboom instead of Goth? So, first of all, you don't want a Rillaboom because you have a Miraidon. And unless you're someone whose team, like, actually can benefit from both of the terrains, that's not a good look. And in Incineroar, you already have 2 ground weaknesses, and you don't just want a Fake Out user. You want a Shadow Tag user, right? You want to be able to trap them into this, and this matchup, right? So I want to run down some lines here because we're not done fixing the team. But if I lead Miraidon and Goth, that forces you to lead with something that can deal with my Miraidon. And if you don't, you lose the game. So when you do lead with something that checks Miraidon, like an Incineroar or something, and I lead Ape Goth, and I Fake Out your Ape's teammate, and I Final Gambit you, and then I send a Miraidon, and now you don't have Fake Out, and I win the game. Like, you see how that line works? Ooh, that's so good. It's so good, right? Or if I lead Goth and Miraidon, or one of my mons here, and you lead with something that has Protect, and you're like, cool, I'm gonna block the Fake Out with Protect, and I read that, and I pivot out my Goth for my whims, and now I have an Encore Lock on your Protect, like easy peasy lemon squeezy, shake my hand, go to game 2, right? It's so good. So a bunch of little stuff like that. I think for this last move, I do think that like having just TR as an option here could be really, really nice. Just to be able to flip it back if you do need to. Another thing that you could put here is I've used Heal Pulse here. I think Helping Hand is another really, really good one. You can even just put like a Psychic here because this Goth set is actually going to be really, really fun. This Goth set, we want to go fast. We want to go fast and we want to hit hard, and you can kill Urshifu with this. Scarf Ursh, more like Dunzo, bro. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, right? Cool stuff. Because we got that Sash, bro. we're here just to start sweeping some people. I've actually used Sash Goth at regionals before. Super unexpected, very, very cool tech. You can go Ghost here. You don't need to go Grass. I think Water is still the better one, but we're probably gonna make Water on our Zacian. So we got to think like, what is a Terra that we could go here that we wouldn't, that like, what's a weird Terra that we might be able to get some value out of here? And I think that Normal is probably the one. This let's just sit in front of Astral. You know what I mean? Not that bad at all. So good stuff. All right, for this Flutter, I think that we can optimize our Flutter EVs. We were talking about optimizing EVs. The reason why we didn't use Flutter in those games, even though it seemed like a good one, is because its EVs really weren't there. If we were to plug in something like an Urshifu, we're going to plug in Urshifu Rapid Strike. Right here, set it to 50. It's Jolly, right? We're going to make it Adamant. Now, Dark, you don't need Dark on Goth. Don't need it. All right. And we're going to plug in, what is that? Flutter Mane. Don't want to die to that. Not really excited to die to that. So Surging Strikes does a lot from like Adam and Ursh. So we want to give ourselves like the ability to not get KO'd by that in every single situation, even off of the high roll. So that could look something like, you know, we can put there. So 252, 204. And the value in putting points in HP before maxing in our defense stat. We can probably save points by doing that, but those same 55 points are going to work for our Spit Def as well. So you can also do something like, and save points. This has been a Flutter set that people have used in the past. It's a fine one. 142, 52 is fine, right? I like it better the other way though. That's just my opinion. So that's going to be 252, 204. And then from there, maybe thinking like, what do we need to do with this? We still need to get the boost into speed. And so what I like to do is plug in my nature down here, right? And then how fast do we like really need to be on this thing? Like, honestly, we just need to be fast enough to get our boost, right? So like right here is usually around where I like to be to outspeed like Scarf Lando, Scarf Chiyu, stuff like that. And we just have extra points that we can throw anywhere. You can throw like a 44-4 and you still get those boosts. Like, it's cool. You can even throw those 44 down here and you actually just use these two up here to do whatever you want with. I think it's a cool set. You got your normal Terra here. I don't think we need normal Terra exactly on this one. I still think that you can probably get away. Let's actually mess with our EVs a little bit. We were taking a look here at 142, 52. And we found a couple way to get some extra EVs. If you go to 52 here and you have those EVs, you can actually find a way where your let's just plug in like a Rhydon. So let's just go against a Rhydon, a standard Rhydon, like a sweeper Rhydon, and we'll plug in like 52 with like a Moonblast. So you guys can, right there. So right there, if we were to double dip our fairy typing, we can guarantee KO a Miraidon. So this forces a Miraidon Terra in every single situation. So like we can leave with something Miraidon normally wouldn't Terra, you know, like Flutter Mane and like Goth, fake out their teammate, Terrastalize our Flutter Mane, and just threaten to win the game against the Miraidon. They can Terrastalize if they want, but if they Terrastalize like Fairy, cool. Like we just send out Zacian and then win. Like thank you for that, you know? So I really like that sort of set. And then we have all these extra points to mess with. You can just throw these right in here. You're still going to get the boost to speed every single time. So I like it. Just extra points being used in all the right spots. I vibe with it. Really cool set. Give it a shot. But you have to double dip your Fairy Terra here. Isn't that valuable to have the Flutter max speed, outspeed Flame Charge, Miraidon, Scarf Miraidon, and other regular amounts in Tailwind? I don't think that you need it on this team. That's the thing. On this team, I don't think that you need it, right? This team doesn't have an issue with. All right, so what is you're talking about? Big Flutter. You're talking about Miraidon, Scarf Miraidon. We have this and this. So when we have these two, right? They could bring their Tailwind and their Scarfmon, and if they do that, they lose to this, right? That's the idea behind that sort of team. They're going to be expecting us to have a really fast Flutter, and now we have a bulkier Flutter that can actually be leveraged and have some, you know, ability to stick on the board a lot better than we did before. Whimsicott, we have Cloak, so we actually don't need to be full speed, cruise control for cool again. You don't really need to be all that fast either. We got to pick what we do want to outspeed. So let's sort this by speed tiers. I'm going to think, like, is there anything around here that we need to outspeed that we wouldn't normally, right? I don't think we need to be full speed because we still would get outsped by like Valiant and stuff. So we need to outspeed Torn. So Torn is a 111, so that's right here. Torn gets to 179, so we gotta get to 180 on our whims. So we can still use our nature to do that. Take a little bit of these points out. And then from there, we don't need to have like nearly as much special attack investment. I think you actually cut this for light screen, in my opinion, and give yourself a little bit more value, right? And what I would do is just max our HP in that situation and cut that up into probably like a 28-4 and do it just like that. So you're dumping your last insped F because we have like the light screen and all the extra value there. But you see how like our whims kind of just sits here a lot easier now. And what we would probably do is make ourselves Dark Terra here. This is going to let us resist Astral and avoid people like Prankster taunting us with their whims, or, you know, not Prankster taunt because they're going to be faster. But like this can let our whims come in and then drop Terra to avoid those Prankster taunts from like a Torn that already has its speed control up, so we can still stagger that tailwind correctly. I like this set a lot. And like I said, it lets us like outvalue Shadow Riders very well as well, especially with that light screen. Ape, I think you were fine. Nothing really too spectacular about Ape. Final Gambit, Close Combat Rage Fist. I like this set as well. This is the exact set that I run, especially with the Zacian here. You can think about cutting coaching for U-turn if you feel like it, but I like coaching with Zacian. If you're winning, you're winning, you know? That's fine. Miraidon, I think, is a little bit weird. I don't think you need this much special attack ever on Miraidon, on Specs Miraidon. I usually like to play for bump on this guy, so that's going to be right there, and then you actually just dump the rest of this in, like, HP. That's the set that I go with. I play Miraidon. I think you had a good HP stat. You had a good speed stat, sorry. It's just solid. Like, you can actually put a little bit more if you really wanted to, but you don't need to. I think it's fine. It's Scarf Miraidon. You know, cruise control, cool, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Doesn't need to do that much else. Zacian is a little bit different. You also don't need to have this much attack on Zacian. And you also, I would make this into a Water Terra, right? I'd make that into a Water Terra. I think my Zacians on a team like this with like the potential of light screen and the trade potential, I'd be wanting to see how much damage we do to stuff like Miraidon. So we have a Miraidon on this blank side here. Let's plug in a Zacian. And let's see how much damage Zacian can do to a Miraidon with Play Rough. So Zacian comes in play with Intrepid Sword, and it just dumpies the Miraidon, right? So that's like when you don't need to go like super de-duper overkill, right? You just need to play your aggro teams with a little more brain power instead of dumping everything in speed all the time. Yep, AV Miraidon is really hard to kill. It can be, but we're going to have bulk too, right? So that's a super KO against that, which means we don't need to put like any of those points into that stat. I also think also as well, like you can probably get away with cutting Sacred Sword here. Like what are you Sacred Swording? Are you Sacred Swording Zenta? It's possible you're Sacred Swording Zenta, but you can just put like Swords Dance here. And this team actually has the tools to like fish for that. So that's what I really like. So like in matchups where they lead in Sin, now you can actually lead in this guy with confidence, flip on the Water Terra in front of them, fake out their teammates, soak and intimidate, and just Swords Dance, and then just win out, like easy peasy, right? And to do that, you honestly like only need about like that much. Put that big HP stat, put this 115 to work. And then from there, I think Zacian benefits a little bit more from having more SPDF than defense, just because like it has good defensive typing on the defensive side. So it's really, really cool. I like the sort of Zacian set a lot. You hit the right speed stat though, so you did a really good job on that. So I think this is Showdown wallpaper. It's Susanoo-man. All right, so we see Groudon, Lunala, a little bit of like weird Trick Room stuff with like Belly Bolt and Pachirisu, very weird, right? Super, super weird. How do we want to deal with this? We could always annihilate the Indity, and then like what would we do to the Lunala? That's a good question. So we could Final Gambit there and then Taunt, right? So looks great to me. And then what we're going to do is they're going to have Terrain, so we don't need Whims here. We don't need Flutter. We're going to try Zacian and Rhydon. We're going to see if we can make it work. We make it work. We make it work. We don't make it work. We don't make it work. It's okay. Now we have Terras on our Zacian to actually start trading correctly. Sablei's weird. Lunala's weird. We have the tools, though. We do be having tools, though. So let's see. We are going to be taunting up there. Bruh. What if I just doubled into it? Like, that'd be so raw. Dude, that'd be so raw if it just, like, pop, pop. Ugh. What if I Final Gambit read the Lunala Terastallizing? Oh my gosh, that'd be nutty, bro. You're gonna fake up my... Oh, I could have done that. Mean Look. Nah, dude. Doesn't work like... You can't actually Mean Look a Mon like this. Did you know that? Did you know that you can't Mean Look one of those Mons? Nutty. So now Zacian's gonna come in and be like, Dumpy. Dumpy City. Okay. Yeah, you can't. I mean, look, a Shadow Tag Mon can't be trapped, and they can't swap that Lunala. The best thing they can do is protect Wisp, which is okay. They can't protect. They're taunted because I'm a gamer. They can't protect. They can't swap. They gotta drop the Wisp. And we have normal Terra if we wanted to pivot, like flip that on to be able to not like get KO'd there. Behemoth Blade. Oof! Look, even with only 36 points, that still get KO'd. Yeah, Apes can't get trapped either, you're right? Foul Play's good. So now they're just useless there. They have Foul Play. But then what's the play here? Is it Groudon? Pachi. Poch D's. Police. Yeah, how goes it? Definitely ignore that Sableye now. It's pretty garbage. They have Groudon that can come in here. Yep, there it is. They're going to protect Pachi? That'd be so raw. Nice, they just follow me. We hit anyways. Dumpied. Goth. Mess them up, bro. Cool. So there's two things we can do here. We have Rhydon. I think we just protect here, and we just throw up a taunt. Like a YOLO taunt. If they're going to make a read and like fake out here and then encore here, they're gamers. Gravity. Yo, sick. We do not want to get encored, right? We don't care if they hit this. Okay, so we really got to think about what our play here is. We're going to Terastallize here, I believe. See it. Protect, good play. Hopefully no Sash. Nice. What's the special attack stat on this Gothitelle? It's a base 95, so it's actually pretty beefy. And you see, Zacian still does like half to a Groudon. Like, it's ridiculous. So yeah, we added the right tools. Team worked. So hopefully you like the changes. I think this is a lot of fun. We made our mons a lot bulkier. I think that's the one thing. We added a lot of bulk, but like, yeah, this Goth like slaps. 95 base special attack is pretty strong. Normal. Normal Terra is there to block Shadow Rider. So you can just sit in front of Astro a little bit easier. Like with Goth, since we're sashed, right, we got to think, okay, we don't need to have a defensive Terra that will help us mitigate damage, right? We don't need to reduce damage. We want immunities. So possible Goth Terras there could be ground, ground for electric moves, flying for ground moves, fairy for dragon moves. Normal would be one that covers up for Goth's weakness to ghost, right? So any of those that give like a common immunity. And since we have stuff like Ape, Flutter, Goth, it's common that they're going to be bringing like their ghosts, right? They would be bringing like a Shadow Rider would love to see this board here. That's why we have things like Dark Terra here, you know, Normal Terra here, why we have those defensive Terras. Possible to make Noctowl work. Noctowl is one of my favorite mons of all time. I was actually thinking about using it today. It's really, really cool. I like Noctowl a lot. Maybe once we get our new rules out, I might use some Noctowl. Love me some Noctowl. So this is the next team we're going to be taking a look at here. It features Leftovers, Electric Terra, Thunderbolt, Kyoger. So weird. With like Life Orb, Sandforce. Sandforce? Bro, he's Sandforce. Why you gotta Sandforce me, bro? He's Sandforce Lando on the team submission post. The Lando on the paste here is Sheer Force. But it is Sandforce in the actual rental, so we're going to have a hard time cut out for us here. It's going to be AV Rilla. So this is a good example of like the next team. They're doing a lot of things right. They have the aggressive tools in like the Torn, the Zacian, but they're 100% like reliant on the Grim to like stop everything. And so yes, we can go fake out, or yes, we can go Ghost Terror to avoid fake outs, but like if they walk up the Grim, this team doesn't really get to play the game. And since we have things like Zacian that can't realistically lead into Incineroar, and a Kyoger that has like like a pretty negative defensive Terra, or a neutral defensive Terra, we can't really lead Kyoger Grim either because we just get rolled. So this is going to be a really hard team to win with. I think after fixing this team's actually going to look a lot better. But let's go into some games and see if we get some wins. This is going to be so hard to win. Rayquaza is so good into Kyoger. I love these nicknames. We have to go with Torn. And I want to check our Torn's spreads here. We got Cloak, Dark Terra. Good set on the Torn. Good job. Love that. Love that. All right, so Torn is definitely coming. Kyoger is something that we would like to bring. And we can get away with leading Zacian here. We definitely can. Volk is an issue, but it's not something we can't deal with. Just want to check and see if we have Swords Dance on the Zacian or not. Play rough? Nah, maybe we don't go Zacian as our lead then. Bro, we have Sand Force. I can't believe they're doing this to me, bro. The Sand Force. Oh, the humanity. All right, let's see if we can get the win here. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, so Sand Force raises the power of, like, ground and, like, rock moves or whatever. Ground, rock, steel attacks do 1.3 damage in Sandstorm, and you have an immunity to it. But he just forgot to ability cap it. That's the weed that I thought we were going to see. So the cool thing about this is we are able to flip on our Terra with our Torn to not die to the Astral, get up that Tailwind, which will allow our Kyoger to actually do the thing that it needs to do, which is go for a Spout. I also want to say the EVs on this team, you can see right there, need a lot of work. So we'll fight that route when we get to it. You know, that's teams that are submitted on these. I use everything. Like, I'm fixing these things. I'm doing my absolute best in these situations. Just want to make sure that everything is where I want it. Whoa, the Torn, wait, the Torn has the wrong Terra. Dude, not like this too, and the Terras are all wrong? Oh no, oh no. Why is it Dragon? It's supposed to be Dark. It literally says Dark on the paste. Dude, why do people do this to me, man? I'm just trying to fix people's teams and have a good time. And I get the EVs that are wrong, and I get the team sheets that are wrong. It is so hard to be me out here. Like, at what point do we start questioning, like, what the rest of the EVs say? You know? We just got crit. Can we not have that happen? Thanks, I guess. Poison gas. Cool. I'm actually really happy that we lost our Torn there. Thank you. I appreciate you. Torn. MVP. Dragon Terra OP. Okay, so what I really like about this play here is I'm going to bring in Zacian, right? And we're going to double into the Shadow Rider, which will then force them to swap or protect. If they protect, like, that's fine. Their Wheezing gets Papa-Rooney Dooney. And if you pivot out the Shadow Rider for an Ensign, it's Kyoger, you know? And if you pivot out the Wheezing for Ensign and protect, it's going to be Rain Time, right? So I really, really like this play. We just shove that guy down mid. I don't even know the rest of our EVs, you know? I don't even know if this Kyoger, like, outspeed Shadow Rider or Tailwind. I don't know what the EVs are going to be, you know? We're doing our best, though. We have so many good things to fix about this team. I'm excited to get into the fixing for it. Oh, awesome. Pop it like it's hot. Nice. Think Zacian's good in Red Guy? I do. Perfect. Great. Yeah, I don't care what they do here. The demon is down. The Shadow Rider is depleted. You know, Wisp me? Wisp is a good play. Citrus there? Okay. Poison gas. Just poisons Ogre. Doesn't even hit Zacian. Zacian Steel type OP, baby! I really gotta check the rest of these Terras, though. I know it's Electric on Kyoger. It should be Dragon on Zacian. Dragon is a good defensive Terra on Zacian, too. I like it. It's one of my favorites. So Kyoger's taken out. Is this Ensign? Is this Ability Shield and Sin? Are you cooking, bro? Iron Hands. Awesome, not bad. Good play. Dragon, Dragon, Ghost. See, the thing I really like about this is I can actually just full send this up mid. I can go Fake Out and just Spout. Like, what do you do if I do that? If you're Fake Outing, like, go nuts. If you're... Yeah, I'm fine here. You can Fake Out one, but you can't Fake Out both. And I'm getting some rain up here. And I'm going to get my +1 and done. Know what I'm saying? Wheeze these, please. It's Zacian time. Real Zacian hours. Let's go, +1. You know, back in Sword and Shield, you used to be able to, like, cycle in Wheezings to get, like, multiple Intrepid Sword stacks. I think that's actually one of the reasons why they nerfed it, to only work once per game. Because you used to lead Zacian, get your boost, come in with the Wheezing Protect, and then pivot out the Wheezing and get another boost when it reactivated. It was so nuts. So we're probably going to be using Origin Pulse from here, but I think it's going to be Ray. If I was in their position and I have Rayquaza, I'm probably protecting Ray and attacking with the Iron Hands. So we're going to double into this Iron Hands here. And I think this is so crazy that the best play here is actually this. That's so nutty, because if they do decide to, like, Dragon's Ascent, we'll resist it. Oh, that's funny. Oh my gosh. Not like this, right? Let's go. Electric Terra Kyogre cooking. It's funny, he has the Thunderbolt for the Rayquaza matchup. Protect Ray, yeah, we made the right play. Cool. Just gotta hit our Origin. I kind of wish that I clicked just Spout, because it's still relatively strong. We just need like, oh, we don't need any damage. That shouldn't KO. Just letting you know, that's, I don't know how they're EV'd, but like we only have 76 points in attack. Maybe we're 252, I don't even know, right? We take those though, that's gonna be game. And we're just gonna go Behemoth Blade Thunderbolt went out. Don't need to player for anything anymore. They're probably gonna Terastallize themselves. I wouldn't be surprised if they went after our Kyogre with like an E-Speed or something. But we are gonna take those, and leaning into those options when you can with what you got is important. So we're gonna baby Thunderbolt time, boys. Let's go. Let me get that Thunderbolt. Oh yes, we're gonna get a Thunderbolt. Yo, I'm actually super excited for this. World first Kyogre Thunderbolt. Show me normal Terra. Yeah, there it is. Cool. Yeah, you just can't beat Zacian anymore. I thought like if I was gonna say if you went Ground Terra and popped my Zacian and blocked my Thunderbolt, I'd have been so mad, right? I'd have been so mad. Dumpy. Kyogre from the heavens. Let's go. Kyogre busted. Big damage. Absolutely massive Thunderbolt Kyogre damage. Oh, you heard it here first. Hey, cool game though, right? I think that was a fun one. So we're actually going to do some fixing now and really break down some stuff we need to get, some fundamental like things about this team done. Normally I would want to play a second game with this team, but since it's looking like there's a bunch of little things wrong with the paste and the rental code that was submitted, like Terras are different, EVs are different, I'm just going to go into the fixing now and, you know, we'll get into the fun parts. So overall, I think the six mons that you chose are fine, but there's one change that I would make here. I would cut this. I don't think you need Rillaboom on this team. I think you probably think that you need Rillaboom, because Rillaboom could be a good defensive pivot for Kyogre, and Rillaboom could be a good defensive pivot for, like, not these, right? That's it. Like, you know, Rillaboom is not going to be a defensive pivot for Zacian because they're both weak against fire. You probably just think that it's a good defensive pivot for Kyogre for your Miraidon matchup, but, like, this is your Miraidon matchup. This is your Miraidon matchup. This, having a defensive Terra is your Miraidon matchup, not this. Right, so what you want to do is actually cut this for Amoonguss, right? And now you have two defensive Pokemon that do a lot of the heavy lifting, and now you have the board where you can lead like Tornadus Kyogre, and that's one of your lines, and it goes Tailwind Spout, and you can go, you know, Screens Kyogre, and go, you do whatever you want, threaten Thunder Waves, and just pop them out. Or you can do something like Kyogre Lando and just blow people over with a not Sand Force Lando. Or you can do something like Amoonguss Kyogre, and if they have big single target damage from something on their side, you don't have to deal with it. You can even bait them into attacking your Kyogre, protect the Kyogre, and drop a Spore on them. So you see how like this gives you a lot more options, and also against like Trick Room teams that are built around like Kali-I, you can use that Amoonguss as a defensive pivot that you can come back in and just Spore. So it's actually really, really good. I think the Amoonguss is a good mon here that plays a good secondary support role with the Grimmsnarl. Thank you so much. Yo, appreciate it. Thank you. I saw that you sub. Appreciate it. Yeah, hopefully you like. I'm going to give the paste on the Patreon at the end of this little stream here. Should Zacian be above 205 speed? It should. You know. Oh, no. Zacian be above 205. No. You don't need to be above 205. That's too deep. I don't think you need to. Not anymore. Not with how like Zacian's built nowadays. You don't have to. But we're going to talk about that. So let's go back to this Ogre. Like the EVs here are all over the place. This is like no man's land. When doing your EVs, right, the way it works is the first 4 get you something. And then after that, it's every 8. So it's 4 plus 8 is 12. And then 20. And then 28, 36, you get the idea. So 36 gives you something, and 44 gives you something. But 40 doesn't really get you anything. You're wasting those 4 points. So when you had 230 here, you're 228 gives you something, and 236 gives you something, but 230 means you're just wasting those 2 points. So it says 139 our speed stat. It still says 139 there, right? So you're wasting those points. You can be using them a little bit more optimally. Same thing goes for like this 42 up here. You're just wasting the points. So that being said, what we need to do is find the right speed tier for your Kyogre to function. If you want to run lefties Kyogre, you can. I would really, really recommend using a Grass Terra on this thing to be able to mitigate damage from, you know, P-Blades on Groudon, Electro Drifts from Rhydon, not be able to be got by like Spores and other things like that. Block damage from like Grassy Glide. Because for example, like when you have Electric Terra, the problem with Electric Terra, right? Thank you for the follow. Is when you go Electric Terra Kyogre and your opponent has a Rillaboom, they still just Grassy Glide you, and you still just take like 45% of your health with Weakens your Spout. You don't need it. I actually think what you should do is probably Spout, Pulse. The set that I would use here is Spout, Pulse, Hydro. and actually just go with the Mystic Water. I think on the previous set that you had submitted, the leftovers with like the Rilla could have been seen as something good, but you didn't have a Calm Mind set. So this is just triple water Kyoger, really, really solid. And then from there, I'm actually a big fan of like giving this guy a speed boosting nature. You only need to get to right here to actually outspeed like everything that you'd ever want to outspeed. You really only need to get to 149 to be the same speed as Ursh. You can speed creep that up to 150, and you can speed creep this up to 151. If you want to go to 152, you can speed creep that as well a little bit. And then from there, you can kind of just max out a lot of these stats. I'm actually just a big fan of just like super aggroing out this Ogre, and then throwing the rest of your points in defense here, just because like it lets you live a bunch of stuff. You say Hydro Pump for Ice Beam. Yes, definitely. Like, what are you Ice Beaming? Like, I want you to actually take a second to realistically think about what you're clicking Ice Beam on. And what you're going to realize is, like, anything that you want to Ice Beam, you can Hydro, you can Origin, you can Spout, and it'll still do significant damage. And even if you, like, were to want to Ice Beam something over Hydro, like, honestly, you probably wouldn't be able to get the Ice Beam off. Like, you could say, I want to Ice Beam Rillaboom. And it's like, okay, but, like, we talked about that. He's going to be Fake Outing you. He's going to be Grassy Gliding you. You don't want to deal with it. You don't want to eat that damage, right? Unless you're Terra, and if you do, like, it doesn't matter. You don't need to Oko him. You can just 2-tap him, right? With a Hydro or something like that. So in those situations, like, you don't need to Ice Beam those things. They're not required to Ice Beam. And then the Hydro plus the Mystic Water makes up for the fact that you'd be using, like, resisted Hydros. Like, this is still great into Amoonguss. This is still great into a lot of different stuff. So, good stuff. Zacian. I've seen, this is a good Zacian set. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. I think it plays to bump, right? Yep, plays to bump. So, 196 to 198. Solid set. Maxing out the HP set on Zacian, putting its 115 base defenses to work. It's solid. I've used the same Zacian set before. I think it works for what you're doing. I think the Dragon Terror is a good choice here. Give yourself a resistance to fire. Give yourself a resistance to a couple other little things along the way. I think it's a good Zacian for trading, and it's a good one for this set. Solid. You had Dark on the Poke Pace, which I think is the right one, and I liked the set here too. I think you could even make it a little more optimal. You actually don't need to have like any speed on a Torn, in my opinion. You maybe just throw 4 in there, and then realistically, you want to have a lot of bulk, like a lot of bulk. Normally, I would say put a Rocky Helmet here. We're going to end up using Rocky Helmet on Amoonguss, so this is another really good defensive tool. You want to try, if you can, to have each team have like one physical Bulkymon and one special Bulkymon. So Amoonguss is going to be our physical one. This one's going to be our special one. So we can honestly just like 252 club this guy out with the thickness, right? So we're going to max out that HP stat, and we're going to max out the SpDef stat. And we want to think like, is there anything that we really need to do here? Yo, how goes it? Like, do we even want like any points? Is there anything that we could get by going with like a Tornadus here, right? A Tornadus versus like, let's say an Urshifu Dark or Urshifu Water or something like that. Urshifu Water, right? Set these to 50, right? So what would we get by clicking like a Bleak Wind here or like a Hurricane? Run some calcs here. So these do damage. So you see how we still, like a Hurricane there, would just get the KO 100%. I think that I would probably want to go Hurricane on Torn in those situations, just to make sure that we can take those guys out single target. I think this team is going to be one that greatly benefits from having that single target damage. We don't really need the secondary speed control all that much, so I would swap this over to Hurricane. Solid, like solid move. I don't think there's anything really wrong with that. And then make yourself have a speed reduced nature there, or sorry, attack reduced nature. The Lando, you had the Sheer Force. The rental code said, the other one. I'm not a big fan of Life Orb Lando on these teams. I'm generally not a fan at all of Life Orb Lando on these teams. It's one of those mons that I see mostly as a win more Pokemon. When you're already winning, like a Lando can come in, if you already have your speed control and they're already playing on the back foot and playing defensive, maybe they can't pivot anymore because they only have 2 mons left. Lando comes in and says, GG, shake my hand, folds the game. But you already have a whole team of mons that do that. So the hard part is actually adding a mon that can let you get into those spots in the first place. And that's where I would recommend a Scarf Lando here, right? That's going to let you actually have the tools to lock your opponent out of what they're trying to do, to get you in a situation where instead of just sending out Lando to win, you can now send out your like Kyoger or your Zacian and just fold them over with what you have. I think Scarf Lando is going to be a lot better in a lot of situations. You can make this last move something like U-turn. You can make it something like, I like to recommend Fisher here. One of my favorite sets to do this, and I usually like to make this guy Ghost, because you don't want to get fake outed, right? And then you still keep the Sludge Bomb. It's good. But on the Scarf Lando sets, you can actually like completely change how this mon works. And one really good thing about Scarf Lando too is it's so good into like Chi-Yu. You can make sure that you're always outspeeding everything with these guys. And so like you can pin Chi-Yus before they actually can peel off your Zacian and not have to rely on your weather. You can pin so many different things. It's good into Rhydon. I really just like these sets. I think they're very, very solid. Yeah, I have nothing bad to say about these. You still get your Sheer Force boost on a lot of these moves, so it's good. You don't need the Life Orb damage. The Amoonguss, here we go. Rocky Helmet. Rocky Helmet, Regenerator, Water Terra, Dark Terra. We don't need Water Terra on a Kyoger team because we're not going to terrestrialize something into what our teammates already are. We're just giving our opponents win conditions at that point, right? If we terrestrialize our Amoonguss into water and like they're already trying to bring things that are good against water, that's bad. You know, we don't need to do that. Give them something else to throw up. So we're going to go Spore, and I really like the Pollen Puff here. Some people like Sludge Bomb. I like Pollen Puff. Is Rocky Helmet the best item for Amoonguss? There is no best item for Amoonguss. I think that, you know, it's all relative to what you're trying to do. We're going to go with a speed reduced nature on this Amoonguss. You can actually utilize it in Trick Room if you want. And then from there, remember we talked about Amoonguss being our team's like big main defensive pivot. I'd say Rocky Helmet is a common item on Amoonguss. And then you just throw the last 20 into Spit F. It's a dump into that. Not a bump, so extra. And this still lets you outspeed like Final Gambit, or sorry, outvalue like Final Gambit and Annihilape to the 219 here. Very, very solid. Grimmsnarl, Ghost, Light Clay. You had the set right. Set looks good. That's good. 4 there. You don't really need the 4 there because like you have Foul Play. You're not using Spirit Break. And if you want to stay Foul Play, you don't need the 4 there. So you can actually cut that out and find an extra spot to put these in. You already played to bump there, so you might as well just put that right there. No problem. Pretty solid Shadow stuff. Rider Zenta. I wonder if that's Urshy Water. I wonder if it's sashed. What do you guys think? Might be. So we have Fake Out stuff. We have Speed Control stuff. We have aggressive stuff over there. I really like Amoonguss in this matchup. I think I would probably think about leading with Amoonguss. I think like Amoonguss and Kyoger are just really good here. Like, what do you do? What do you do when I lead like that? I don't know if I want Zacian here. I think Zacian's an L. Cool. Try that. Whims. Ursh. Oh, yes, please and thank you. We love to see that. Value. Spout. Powder. Even though I started following you recently from YouTube videos, I really like your explanations. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, we try our best to help people here. So this board right here, if that's Scarf Ursh, they're big sad. They can terrestrialize their Ursh grass and go for like a big close combat. We actually set this like exact setup up in one of our recent videos to where like if they overextend and waste resources, they're like massively losing. You see how this tech right here breaks Sash and whatever they come in here gets dumpied on, right? It forces them to meet you at your level and you just crack them off. Like, oh my gosh, look at that. Woo! That's a lot of damage. And then now we have like so many different ways to like play around this. We could go Protect, Spore. I don't really see an issue with that. I think I might just pivot in Torn though. And I'm going to pivot in my Torn and just Rage Powder again. You'll take out. I want to see if you Encore me. Endeavor. Good tech from them. I love that. That's very, very smart. All right. Yeah. Good stuff. I love that. I love that Endeavor tech. Can't stop that. You can Endeavor my Amoonguss here too. Yeah, I can't stop you from doing that, buddy. You take out. I could have Spored here, but I didn't know how they were going to line it up. We did stagger the Tailwind though, and this is their last turn there. So let's think about what we need to do. It's better to go Lando. Yep. I should have Spored. That's my fault. I could have played that a little bit cleaner. All right. Redirect that guy in for a turn. We know that we're faster there. And now their Tailwind's done. And now they have Shadow Rider in the back. And we come in with our Kyoger. We only have 1 turn of Rain, but they scoop it up. Yeah, we got it. Easy. Got it. That's a good game. You see the value that Scarflander brought to the table there that we didn't have before? Thank you so much for the follow. Appreciate it, yo. Yeah, I think this team looks a lot better now. We can function a little bit more. We have a good... The Amoonguss, right? Do you see how, like, Amoonguss kind of just said, like, oh, you have Shadow Rider Zenta Ursh? No, you don't. Like, Amoonguss is pretty good. So think about using it. It really it gives all of your other mons the freedom to do what they want to do. I think that's so important. It gives your Kyber the freedom to go for those spouts. It gives your, you know, Grim, your Lando, the ability to like function correctly. That guy went heavy into checking Zacian. We didn't even bring it. We brought just things that checked what checks Zacian. So good team. We fixed it. We're going to post it on the Patreon, post at the end of this stream. And we have one more team for you guys. This is the weirdest of all. Remember, the whole part of this article today is the price of being proactive, talking about people that like overextend. I don't really think there's anything wrong with this last team, but it does feature Sandy Shocks. So this team, it's a little bit weird, right? It's Rhydon Rhydon. It's really, really unique looking. It's Life Orb Rhydon, 252 can be optimized there. Rhydon can be optimized probably just maybe a slab, just a cinch. The AV Okidogi, very, very solid mon. Rhydon is weird here. I think that Rhydon is the weird one. It's actually, that's a good set. You know, Rock Slide is actually still good with that 130 base attack stat. And then like 116 year, this thing's built kind of like how Muck got built in like Let's Go days with like some AoE stuff like that, or sorry, some special attacks. Very, very, very weird, right? But then like Sandy Shocks here being like sashed in the sun with a speed boost for like the electric terrain. It's such a cool set. I love this. There's nothing really wrong with this mon at all. It's still getting the boost. And I think it's a good mon, and then Grim Snarl is just Grim. You know, I think having Fake Out Grim is still really good. And there's very slight changes we can make here, but this should be able to get us some big wins. I really like the ability to like parabolic charge here is just so cool. So let's go play some games and see if this team can get some wins. So this is Gavin Rain with like Bastia Legion. So on paper, we already have a really good matchup with Rhydon. I really wish this team, I think I actually just lead like this. Don't you just lead like this into this team? You lead like this, you set your terrain, you get a defense boost, you set your screen. If you want to put me asleep, like that's fine. Like you'd have to be pivoting in Rilla, and then your board state's like Smeargle Rilla. That's like super weak. I really vibe with that. I don't think we bring Dogi. I think you can get away with Rhydon here too. But it's hard, right? I think Rhydon can be good. I want to look at this Okidogi set real quick. Knock off, Drain Punch, Poison Jab, Snarl. That is unique. We don't. That's for Shadow, right? We don't have Shadow. I'm not seeing a reason to run Rhydon other than an awkward looking. Yeah, you know what? We'll try it. The only reason to run Rhydon is like a speed reduced 0 speed Rock Slide flinch into their Cali if they happen to have Trick Room up or something weird. It's also just a good mon next to the Rhydon, but we're going all in on Rhydon here. Yeah, we'll see. You say he was number 1. What, our opponent? It's a good lead. So like I said, you can pivot out that Cali for Rillaboom and get a fake out pin and like spore something. Yeah, Rhydon was the first Pokemon, you're right. Yeah, it was made before even Rhyhorn was. I really like this, though. I think this is a good, solid play for me. We get Electric Seeds proc. We're going to pop our Terra. It's going to suck we're doing all this, right? If you're running a Sun team, would you use at least 2 Weather Setters? Is it smart to use both Groudon and Rhydon? It's a little bit too all-in, I would say. You can get away with that on Close Sheet Ladder, but like you're better off running a Weather Setter like the Groudon or Rhydon, and then a secondary Weather Setter that sets it manually like a Tornadus. That's what I would say. Okay. I wonder if this KOs. Right off the rip. I think it does. I got time. Just looking around. We don't outspeed that Smeargle anyways. If you want to fake out my Grim and Lance, I don't care. Can't stop you. Yep. There's no reason to take that damage. You see what I mean? Like, there's no reason to blow my Terra. Like, I don't need to do anything. I can just completely chill. I'll take a Reflect. Easy Reflect here for me. This is where I think what I would do here is I wish that this Grim had Parting Shot. I think Parting Shot would be really nice here. Because we can Parting Shot the Smeargle to start getting some value. Attack boost, speed drop, speed drop, speed drop, speed drop. Let's go! That's what I wanted to see. That's so... Now I can just do that. Love that. Don't want to hit our Grim yet, but maybe I should. I can always take out the Grim next turn. And you see how they pulled the trigger and went for that fat lance instead of playing TR? It's nice. If I can stick a Calm Mind, I have a lot of value here. Terra, okay. Fire. Fairy. Ooh. Daring, are we? Haven't seen that one in a while. The Fairy Terra Kali? What is this? Reg G, baby. DP, baby. Oof. Yeah, it's that Sash. We got a crit. We didn't even need it. Grim should outspeed thanks to the Smeargle speed drop. That's what I was thinking. No! That's a game we just lost. I thought we'd outspeed. Speed drop, he tricked me. So, you're Grim. The first thing you need to do, add a little bit more speed to be able to outspeed Smeargles if you get a speed drop on them, right? I would say it's important. You know, I thought we would outspeed. I honestly did. That sucks. That's just game. We're gonna get folded. Yeah, that did so much. That shouldn't have done like anything. Because he also gets a +1 up there. That sucks, man. Ah, that's so frustrating. I wonder if they come in with Rilla here. Kyoger, okay. Great put the Kyoger there. You had to come in like we just came in. Okay, I got lines into this. I do. I honestly have lines, they just suck. Cool. No Rilla, huh? Really wish they didn't get that Decorate off, man. Never lucky. I want to see if they protect. Parabolic charge. Yo, we popping it off, Rhydon. Let's go. Doesn't get the KO on the Kyoger. I was looking for a crit. What's a Psych Up on the soft count as Rhydon? I don't think there is one. Big heal for me, though. Woo! Back up to full. This is a +3 Kali. He's about to be +4. Of course they get the double hit, and then it's single target. Oh, dude, I'm so sad. And is that a crit? No, it's just Mystic Water. We tried. I want to see the actual, like, Smeargle speed stat. So Smeargle's speed stat is here. And then we -1 it. Not +1, -1. 92. So, like, your Grim needs to outspeed that, I would say, if you want to have a chance at, you know, winning. And I think you could just get your Grim that high anyways. Like, you have Tailwind and stuff like that. I don't think it's, like, a bad line to go into. But, you know, that game could have went different. If we dodged Organ Pulse, we would have won. If we would have KO'd that Smeargle, we would have won. There was, like, no way that Kyoger threatened that board. Because we also wouldn't have lost our Grim to the Lance in that situation. So, like, just having a little bit more speed on your Grim in those situations to, you know, capitalize on those turns, I think is really, really important. But not much you can do about it. That team won a regional this season, so like you can't Shadow Rider Zacian Whims. Well, that looks just like one of the teams we were just fixing, right? So that team has like very little defensive tools, right? So all we gotta do is all we gotta do is lead with this Grim here. You know what I mean? Like, just gotta do this Grim thing. If they want to lead like Fake Out and Taunt with like Rilla and stuff like that, that's a weak board. Like Flutter Rilla is weak. It's not really respecting our teammates enough. So I think that like Grim here is good. We don't want to get caught by Encores. We don't want to blow our Terras early. I think we could probably get away with like Okidogi here too. I think Okidogi is like a really solid lead here. Am I wrong? Okidogi, if you go Lando, like that's fine. But like I will dumpy your Shadow Rider. I'll dumpy your Whimsicott. What does Okidogi do? He just doesn't die. He just kind of sits there. And then we can correctly pin with like these. I don't think Koraidon's great in this matchup. I don't like your tone, Koraidon. But at the same time, like, I don't like Sandy Shocks here either. I think you have to go Koraidon, I just don't want to. It's fine. It makes the Zacian have to target that slot. Yeah, Rhydon's cool, right? I just don't think Rhydon and Okidogi can come to the game versus Landorus, right? And like Rillaboom, like that's not happening. So let's see what they want to bring to the table. Shadow Rider's probably going to be coming. Zacian's probably going to be coming. We can expect Whimsicott because our speed control is not at the same level as theirs, so they're going to be probably leveraging Whimsicott early. I wouldn't be surprised if it was like Whims Zacian, since we don't have Intimidate. You could be Whims Zacian, you could be Whims Shadow Rider. You could also go Rilla as a lead. Lando Flutter. So again, screens just happen. Like, screens do be screening out here. And that's booster speed. So if I get the Lando dealt with, I can win. The right play is just a light screen. It'd be nice to get a fake out on the Lando, but we don't need to do that right now. Snarl is also super cracked here. I'm fine with that. I don't think you KO me. We have AV. My favorite Pokemon is Butterfree. I'm one of just a handful of people that have used Butterfree in Top Cutter Regional. Yeah, you made it back. Here we are, playing some games. But let's see. I'm going to go after this Flutter. You can honestly protect the Flutter. I mean, I think Light Screen plus AV should let us live at least one attack here. And then, like, next turn, we can either pivot or fodder that. Go for, like, a... I was talking about already, I really think this Grimm should have Parting Shot. I really think Parting Shot is huge. Yeah, look at that fat Dogi. Just doing damage to this Flutter Mane, put it within range for stuff. Love to see that poison. That is so important here. Love that. Yeah, if we had like a Parting Shot here, like sheesh, dude, we'd be popping. Alright, so we can put a Reflect here if we want. I think you can just finish off. You're probably going to go into my Okidogi with the Lando, right? And I think that's okay. I don't think we need Okidogi for, like, anything. If anything, I'm going to knock off this slot to try and catch you being cheeky. And I won't lose anything for this. I'm going to take your Flutter out. I love this for us. And if you want to protect the Flutter, well, then you're not doing any damage to my Grimm. You know what I mean? I'm super okay with all this. And we can't tell if that's Scarf Lando or, like, what kind of Lando it is yet. But, like, screens are just kind of nice in this matchup, I think. So, screen's busted. Okidogi gaming. And let's see it. That Flutter's on a timer. He shouldn't even be protecting it. He's just going after the Grimm. Good play. Sandsear. Oh, see, never lucky, right? Never lucky. Imagine a world where, like, we dodge one of those. Like, sheesh. But at the same time, like, they show they're not scarfed on that Lando, so that's great. So we're going to take out their Flutter here. That's a lot of their speed control down. And we have... So our Grimm doesn't have Thunder Wave, which, like, I really think that we should have Thunder Wave. Like, I really, really think that we should have Thunder Wave. I wish that we had Thunder Wave. We don't have Thunder Wave. I think that would be another option. So, like, I don't think the Fake Out is necessarily good on Grimm on this team because we don't have a single way to really capitalize on it unless we're going Rhydon on the rip. Which, like, it's good and bad at the same time. That's just my thoughts. I think that Grimm is the one Mon that's, like, really, really important in this team, and it's, like, the one Mon that, unfortunately, is not pulling its weight in this matchup correctly. But that being said, what do we need to do here to win the game? What is the play, as they say? Yeah, Double Dip Dark doesn't do us any favors, right? Like, we don't have any Dark moves. We still have a Zacian left. Alright, so we got to get the Lando off the table. I wish I had a Thunder Wave, right? Oh boy, if I had a Thunder Wave, I'd be able to use it. Like, what you would do here is you would protect your Koraidon, Thunder Wave the Shadow Rider, lose the Grimm, send out the Miraidon, pin, you're good to go. But we don't have those. So it sucks. So let's see what the Shadow Rider's actually ripping out here. Ooh, Terra. Okay. Double Dip Ghost, really? Lando, is it water? Oh, what a good player. Shout out to a good player using correct Terras on their Landos, too. Can't beat that, then. Crazy how, like, you know what, though? If we had Thunder Wave, we'd be able to protect there without blowing our Terra, see what they have, and then punish, but we don't. I want to see if they actually rip a Sandsear. If they miss this Sandsear, this is actually kind of cracked for me. They might just Earth Power. Like, honestly, they might. Bro, that's so much damage. A crit with a KO, that's nuts. Are you Sandsearing or Earth Power my Rhydon? Double hit by Sandsear again, dude. Never lucky, right? Sheesh, bro. Alright, so that's gonna be game. So again, I think the Grim, like, really needs to be optimized. Like, I think, like, a Pokemon like this, you can't just have a wasted Terra there. You can't have, like, the Fake Out really just isn't giving you any value. You don't have access to Flame Charge here. You don't really have anything that you need to use it in conjunction with that you're leading with other than Rhydon. And even if that's the case, Thunder Wave would still be value, because Thunder Wave could work as, like, a pseudo Fake Out to delay, like, speed control, right? So, like, Thunder Whip or Scary Face, one of those things, you really have to have those options if you're going to be utilizing, you know, the Grim correctly. And I feel like with this sort of team, you have to lead Grim in almost all of your matchups if you're going to be playing the long game with the E-Seed Rhydon. So, it is what it is, but we gotta optimize this Grim. I think that's the one thing that, like, really is lacking here is the Grim. The rest of the team seems like it works just fine, but the Grim is, like, the big hole so far. What your team cooks because your Grim has, like, a wasted Terra, that doesn't make sense. Like, all we're talking about here is, like, Grim needs a little bit more speed to be able to outspeed things, to correctly utilize these moves. Grim needs a better Terra. Like, I feel like I'm not wrong in saying that, right? Grim's a good Pokemon, but you're not giving Grims the tools to succeed. For that matchup, you would have done Rhydon Grim, Shocks and Koraidon in the back. All right, so if that's the case, like, you would have lost to... You would have been forced to Terra early, and they had Zacian as their other restricted. You know that, right? So that's the thing, is like, it was Shadow Rider's Zacian. So if you go Terra to avoid the Lando, you just lose to Zacian. You can't do that. All right, so let's take a look at this one. 36 seconds left on the clock. Miraidon and Lunala with Ursa. I don't mind Dogi here, honestly. I kind of like Dogi here. What do you do against Dogi? I don't know how I feel about that. I don't have enough time in this team preview. We spent too much time arguing. This is fine. All right, let's try that. Let's go. Let's try it. And see if it works. They're going to get a Trick 'em Up at some point, I think, which is one of the reasons why I still like the Rhydon. Rhydon being able to underspeed things with, like, +1 special attack boost is so cracked. This is where I was talking about this before. I really, really like the potential of having, like, I really, really like having the potential of Parting Shot. So we can, like, Parting Shot with the Grim into the Miraidon, and then bring in something like Rhydon and get, like, a turn 1, like, Parabolic Charge boost if we want to do stuff like that. Alright, so we had a defense boost here. I'm on the white screen. I don't know, I'm gonna Fake Out. Fake Out, Calm Mind. You going Ghost Miraidon, bro? I will put my cards in the garbage. Yeah. Okay. He can still be cloaked, though. Let's see it. Flinch, nice. He's faster than us. Value. Calm Mind. Ooh, that sucks. Hate that, bro. He didn't even widescreen. He just ripped a freaking... Oh, I hate that. I hate that. It's so bad. Okay. I want to see what they lock into. If they lock into Drift, we go Rhydon. They can honestly Volt Switch my Grim. I don't care. Yep. Let's see. Never fucking lucky, bro. Hate that. Alright. That sucks. Good news is we're gonna get dual screens out of it, but let me just mess with my camera for a second here. Sometimes when Terras happen, camera gets out of sync. There's the Lunala. Seeds Lunala. Okay, so I'm actually going to Terrastalize my Miraidon this turn. I know it's going to look really weird. And the reason why we're doing this is because I want to lose that Spirit Break. But at the same time, I think there's a lot of value here, and then we can condition them into using the Rhydon correctly. Here's the Ursa, good play. They're going to trick us. We have to deal with it. And they have the Trick Room tech. Man, I wish we had Parting Shot or like something. It's just so frustrating. Parting Shot would just make this team work so much better, I think. Trick Room's fine. Oh, okay, we gotta play this the right way. We gotta pivot out the Grim to come in and get a fake out pin on that Ursa. Right, so what's the best way to do that? Probably this. This will be able to eat something, but I don't want to show it yet, you know? But it's fine, I have to. Call my Rhydon's cool, yeah. That's fine. Never taken that bait. Or you're Earthquaking here, right? Earthquake, good move. Earthquake, good move. Yep. You can hit the Rhydon. I don't think it KOs, though. Rhydon's going to live like 20%. This Rhydon might not, though. Only 140 in HP. Let's see if we live. Yeah, we live that. Super. Alright, you're not even full attack. Cool. That works. I kind of want a Parabolic Charge, but I think the right play is just to try and get damage in on this thing. I don't think we do enough damage, though. I really don't. Earthquake's not going to do that much to Rhydon. We have a Reflect and an Electric Seeds proc. It'll do damage, but not like a crazy amount of damage. And we just don't want to throw away the Rhydon, I don't think. The thing I'm actually most worried about is the Rhydon just coming out and just like clicking like a fat gleam or something weird. It's great damage. Cool. Alright, so we're going to pivot in our Grim here. They might make a read here. We'll see. I think it's worth saving the Rhydon, though. I don't think we throw that guy in the garbage can just yet. We could have undersped with Rhydon there. Or with the Rhydon, I don't think it would have KO'd. I want to talk about that. We could have undersped there, but like I want to save this for one more turn. Earthquake, cool. They're gonna hit the Lunala. See, they're really trying to get the Rhydon like off the board. I'm surprised that took my Grim out, honestly. Again, Grim just needs a lot of help with like EVs, I think. I think that's a big thing here. Moonblast not going to tick. Right, they're going to take one more hit on the Ursa there, and now I think they're within range for Scorching Sands. That's my thought, you know? That's the only thing I can hope for, is that now they're within range for Scorching Sands. They still have a light screen up there, right? Yeah, they do. Ah, gotta go for it. Thinking if I want to Calm Mind again. No. Yeah, I didn't do shit. Yeah. Oh well, we lose. That's the only thing I could have done. I could have protected the Rhydon there too. It just doesn't work out. 2 HP, we're gaming out here. But we lose. Thank you for the follow, appreciate it. Yeah, we're gonna lose though. We have like no health. You know. Do you bring Mewtwo to Worlds for 20 bucks? I mean, I'm going to Worlds, but I'm not bringing Mewtwo. Honestly, like, I don't know how we really get out of this one. We can protect with the Rhydon and go for like that. Oh, I'm not playing at Worlds this year. I'm just gonna be there. I'm just watching. No, I only went to 1 regional this season. I played like 2 rounds at my home regional. Nice. That's a good block. They can hit this Rhydon. I don't really care. I got no team for you, my guy. Oh yeah, Earthquake, Euro Lunala. We take those all the way to the bank, bro. Yeah, I hate this format too. It's okay. Oh, the Lunala lives, dude. Okay, so we're down like 2 Mons. Honestly, this is low-key kind of nice because we get a double pin here. If Koraidon had Flame Charge, bro, we'd actually be in a good spot. You know? If Koraidon had Flame Charge, we'd be like cooking, bro. But it doesn't. Okay. I kind of want to Parabolic Charge my own Koraidon. I think it just has to be that. You know, you could have wide guarded there, and like I know you could have wide guarded there, but this is still the play that I had to make. Cool. I should not be able to win, but I'll take a free call of mine. I'm trying to think of anything I can do here. We already know that their Miraidon's faster than mine. And they're probably just going to come in and like D-Gleam out into my Koraidon. They're probably just going to go Thunder Wave. And, you know, Thunder Wave plus Dazzle Doom. Yeah. I think our only out is like Flare Blitz crit, and they miss T-Wave. I honestly think that's probably the only out that we have. What if I protected my Koraidon? CC Miraidon? Yeah, it's definitely going to be CC. Not. I think I said Flare Blitz. I meant CC. Yeah. But I'm thinking like you CC the Miraidon. I'm like, what do we do here? You know. Fuck it. Thunderwave. Thunderwaved. The Miraidon. You Thunderwaved the Miraidon. What? You good, bro? Bro, you okay? You gaming? Let's go. Yeah, I don't know about that one, Chief. Okay. Yep. We're gaming. That's a misplay. That right there. That's a misplay. Please no para. Let me just get to drink these guys. Let's go! Drink it. Woo! And we win. Yeah, they definitely threw. I don't know what that guy thought he was doing. We take those wins all the way to the bank. That's funny. Like, you knew he was throwing when he was like mid-game, like EQing his own Lunala and stuff. Like, I was like, bro, what? So they have a Wims, right? How are we actually supposed to keep up with Wims? I actually am asking a question, because like I can lead Koraidon and they can lead, you know, Kyoger under me, so I can't do that, right? And I could go Sandy Shocks and then what, get like, I can get an Electro Web. That's a -1 versus their, you know, +2, and they have like the ability to go Landos. Like, do you see like how we like aren't able to like play the game? That's a problem. We gotta fix it. So like our only outs in those situations are like try and screen them out, and like honestly that doesn't really work, right? We're gonna try and lead like this. Again, it doesn't really do that much. Oh, we have freaking 4 ground weaknesses and Mons that Terra into ground weaknesses. It's just so hard. Thinking. We have like 4 ice weaknesses. Like, I'm not wrong here. Our only out here is to outvalue the Wims' Tailwind. and like try and get something done with our own weather and speed control. But like I'm not wrong. We have like 4 ground weaknesses. We have like 4 ice weaknesses. 5 ice weak. No, 4. It's 4. 4 ice weaknesses. It's like what do we do? Like, you know. Yeah, like what is there to even do? Because we can't calm on here either, that's why we get encored. We can get up a reflect. Damn thinking. Okay. Just gotta soak the damage. It sucks, man. I think they're playing around fake out, which I don't have. Cool. Works for me. I got a free reflect out of this. Love that. Limbs has to have Encore here too. Like we know that it has to. You have Zacian as a pivot there, so you can pivot in Zacian if you want. Awesome. Terra, you going? It's a weird Terra choice. Stellar. They're trying to rip me on the second turn. Terra there is very obnoxious. Let's see how much damage we even take. Ice Shard, bro, that is not it. Nope. And you're orbed, bro. That's such an overcommitment. That's a good one, though. Look at this damage. Woo! Big heal. Big heal. Yep. Nice! Oh, that's so good. We take it, bro. No Tailwind? Sheesh, I'm allowed to play the game. And I haven't even used my Terra yet. Like, oh, we're cooking. Let's go. Oh, we made him mad. Now we can protect. Protect's a good move. We can use it now. Wish we had Scary Face here, though. Scary Face in the line would be kind of nice. Okay, Pal's not protecting. They're trying to Ice Shard my Grim. Nope, they're just going for an attack. You can take the Grim out. I'll lose the Grim here. That's fine with me. At this point in the game, we take those. EP, love it. Double? Ha, he's like, ha! I read what you did. I know how to read. Okay. And it's Scarflando, guys. Scarflando. Yeah. Shiny Magneton, congrats. See, I can eat this Earth Power. I can eat that. Nice. Pow is a problem. I didn't want to waste my Terra in front of Pow. And now when you come in with Zacian, I have the tools to deal with it. Okay. Zacian should get got by shocks, by the way. That's my end game. That's what I'm looking at here. Oh, wait, I thought you had Zacian on this team. No, it was Zacian and Kyoger. I really thought it was gonna be Zacian. Okay. I don't know what to do against this. This was not on the bingo card at all. This really throws me for a loop. I think you can just like pivot in here, maybe. Just try and see if that works. We probably outspeed their Ogre, so if we come in our Rhydon after losing shocks like a double up, because our Protect's on cooldown, then we can just fire Terra, pop the Lando, get the Lando off the board, and then Rhydon just run into the Kyoger and win the game. Like, that's probably our best bet. Ooh, they didn't Earth Power the right target. That sucks. I wanted them to Earth Power the Rhydon whose Protector's on cooldown. Orange Pulse can miss. I guess I'll take a Orange Pulse miss if they want to give it away, but like, never lucky. Alright. You are going to go into Sandy Shocks. There might be a world where like I pivot in Rhydon and I Eerie Impulse the Lando and just completely like turn it off, but I don't think that's really that good either. Electro Web would be usable. I guess I gotta pivot in Rhydon. We just don't know where we pivoted in yet. I don't like this, man. This is all bad. Let's see what happens though. There's also a speed tie with that Lando. I don't like this, man. This is all going sideways. I really thought they were gonna bring Zacian in here. All right. And we lost a speed tie. That's game. That's probably just game. There shouldn't be a way to win this one. We needed to stick that Eerie Impulse. And like I would have used Protect there if we would have had it, you know? It doesn't really matter. I mean, it's cool. We shouldn't be able to win here, though, I don't think. We have to take out Lando with that, and that's our only out. If you make a read and Earth Power the Rhydon, you Earth Power the Rhydon. I can't stop you, bro. I don't think I die, though. I think I still have like 2 turns left in my light screen. Gotta protect there. Gotta. Good play. We live. We're gonna get KO'd here. But then it's up to Rhydon to 1v1 an Ogre, and like, I think we might. Yeah. So we take out. Imagine a board state where I just clicked Parabolic Charge this turn, and I was able to heal everything. Oh, that's so nice. Alright. Hope they don't like Calm Mind or something. Spout! Bro, they're trying to cook. Sheesh. Okay. Looks like they don't. They probably have Hydro. Triple water. You don't protect here. I've already shown Calm Mind, I think. Like, if you're trying to protect to wait out the weather, that ain't it. That is not it, bro! That's fine. We'll be able to do that. We'll be able to weave the Calm Mind once. Did I show Calm Mind? I thought I did, but I guess not. I've played like 30 games today. Reflect wears off, that's fine. 2 turns on screens, 2 turns on sun. I guess I haven't. Alright, so yeah, we'll go Parabolic Charge here. And then we will almost KO. I'm just going to Fireball Charge here to hose out. Like, see it. Yeah, we got it. Awesome. Whew! Man, this was hard. I really, really, really thought they were going to have Zacian. Like, really, truly, honestly thought they were going to have Zacian. I thought I had it locked up, but we still take the wins. Like, yeah, I think this team is solid, right? But I think it needs just, like, a little bit more speed control. Like, I really do think it needs just, like, a little bit more speed control. Let's go into some team fixing and see if we can actually change some of the stuff. Yeah, going into this team, I think the first thing that needs to be taken a look at is this Grim. The Terra needs work. The EVs need work. We need to be able to outspeed that Smeargle. So we need to get to 93 on our Grim, which means we take away some of these points here. 93 is a good spot to get to just so we can actually still utilize our Fake Out and our Spirit Break. But again, I really, really, really think you could just change that Fake Out. Like, it's so nice to be able to to Fake Out things, but like, it's too cheeky, and like all they have to do is like protect or like pivot or like, and if you don't want Thunder Wave because you're blowing some around, you can just Scary Face. There's matchups against like Trick Room too, where like, let's say you lead Rhydon and Grim in a TR, you can like Scary Face your Rhydon, they TR, and then you Scary Face yourself again and can still do stuff. So like Scary Face is like really, really good too. I don't really think there's a problem with that. It's good in those Landos too, which Lando is a big problem for this team. So putting that many points in speed on Grim is not bad at all. I don't remember exactly how many points you had in defense, but I think Grim should be built more on the spit up side. So what we're going to do is play to bump here, if we can. Just going to see where that is. Right there. And that's just that. We don't need any points in attack or anything here. I don't see Fake on Grim very often. It's not that it's bad. I think on this team, since we don't have any other things to pair it to other than Rhydon, it just doesn't work. If we had like Flame Charge here, or like a Tailwind setter, or like something else, it could work. But since we don't have any of that stuff, it doesn't. I think the Shiny Sock set is cool. The best thing you could probably do here is cut this down to a 52 and then go into a 4-4. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. That still lets you keep a lot of your photosynthesis boosts. I think having the terrain here is a little bit cheeky. It's good into Rillas, right? Earth Power there is nice. Electro Eerie Impulse. It's good. This is a good set. It's just like, it's very particular. Koraidon here. Breaking Swipe is a niche, but I like it. It works for the damage mitigation. The best thing you can do here is probably, again, just go for that 244, 4-4 here. I don't really think there's a problem with that. And then Rhydon. I think Rhydon was actually really cool, but again, you can be cutting these up into 2 sets of 4 if you need to, but I think these are probably actually EV trained to KO exact things. This is a good Rhydon set. I think there was nothing really wrong with it. The Okidogi, this is a mon that I'm not really that comfortable playing with on this team because I just feel it doesn't really do a lot. But that being said, we didn't fight a single Shadow Rider. This probably cooks Shadow Rider Zenta. No questions asked. This looks like a really good set. All the EVs are in the right spot. So if this is like our matchup for Shadow Rider Zenta with like screens, like that's completely fine. It's really good into that. And then Fairy Miraidon, I think that our set here is okay. I don't really think there's that many things I would change. I think this is just one of those teams that is like really, really unique, and you just have to hope your opponent isn't playing at like a really, really high skill level. Like I think a bunch of the teams we played against like 2 teams that won regionals this season and like another one, and that was like really high level. And when people are like playing the game perfectly with teams that are tied and true tested that have won events, having a team that is susceptible to encore or like pins from other like, you know, top cut teams is probably just not going to cut it. We're trying to do a little bit too much. Again, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 ground weaknesses. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 ice weaknesses, which means we have to blow our Terras, and it's just really, really rough. I think the Terra for the Grim here could be a lot of different things. Ghost is pretty standard, but I don't think you need to go Ghost. I don't think you need to go Grass either, in my opinion. I think that you might want to get away with something that could help you. I think I've been a fan of Poison on Grim recently. I know it sounds really weird, but it lets us block those D-Gleams. It lets us block the Body Press. I like that. At least it gives us like something to be able to literally do anything else. Steel is another acceptable one, but it doesn't work as well versus the Body Press. So while I think the team is cool, I think this is cool, this is cool. I feel like this core slots in weird on it, and if I'm trying to think of what I would change, you would have to completely gut the Dogi for something else that would like come in and help alleviate pressure to those ground and ice mons. But at the same time, like you still can win without those. So I think that those are the small changes I would make. I think the team is very cool. It's very fun to play. But Whimsicott gives us a lot of problems. They get to leverage their advantage. And then like Miraidon Mirrors, it feels like we're always one step behind. So changing this on our Grim to give us a little bit of speed control is probably the best tip that I can give. And you know what? That's going to be the team fixing for today. The price of being proactive. For that last team, the price of being proactive is like, you don't have enough tools to like win the mirrors in some situations. But this is all the stuff we went over today. Again, this is VGC Masterclass number 8. If you guys want to check out a bunch of the other sessions that we're doing, these are all up on Patreon. Think about checking them out. Even the lowest tier, the $2 tier, gets access to all of this content. So hopefully you guys are interested in doing this. We're doing this all July, the VGC Masterclass, and we're having a great time doing it. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the games that we played today, the teams that we fixed, and other than that, peace out. I'll see you guys next time.